G'day folks, it's your boy Tom Chan here again. I'm going to be jumping onto some EdoPro today to show off to you guys the deck that I profiled the other day. I'll just let you know of a couple of changes if we're looking at the deck here. I've named it Alteron. I think that's fitting because it's a Numeron Altergeist deck. Now, a couple of slight differences you'll notice that just in the extra deck we got the one relinquished Anima here as well as the extra Hex here. I was discussing the other day that I would like to play 3, so this is probably the ideal build, as well as we got the Ningirsu. Now, the reason I got the Ningirsu in there is this deck really struggles against anything that is protected from targeting. So in that instance, you can basically make Link Kurobo and Hexia and go into this Ningirsu, no dramas, and just sort out whatever you need to. No problems whatsoever. Alright, a couple of different kaijus as well. I prefer to play the extra, the Gamma Seals instead of the ones that I do have, but I don't have them at the moment, no big deal. I'll pick them up in the future, but these have just a little less attack, which makes them a bit easier to get over with stuff like Hexia and that sort of thing. So if we jump into some replays here, first one's going to be against Monarch. I've had a few games with this. I just want to show to you guys the enjoyable games that I played. Yeah, this one's against Monarch. He's going to be, I think he's going to be, no, I'm going to be going first in this one. So do your standard shenanigans with Melee Seek Search, put your back row, and obviously I unfortunately shotgun the spoofing to get my multi-faker on field here, just so I can have the bounce, but I run, unfortunately, into the evenly match. So chain spoofing to get rid of the monster so I can save it, and the rest just gets banished. I figure spoofing is probably the best, that way I can shuffle the Marionetta and get what I want, but I mean, card destruction gets rid of my hand, and we continue from there. But I mean, the hand I got wasn't too bad. He goes off into Erebus, you know, removes my remaining back row, which would put me in a bit of a harsh spot because he's got the Monarchs are up, but luckily I've got the out for it in Pankratops, which we summon there. Okay, fantastic. So we change that, and when we change the Pankratops, we're all good to go because we don't have the protocol established yet. And yeah, it's looking okay from here. Bring back our Meluseek. And he's going to go to battle phase. Now, I noticed you do have to attack over the Meluseek, even though you don't want to in these situations, because if you let your opponent get a turn with that Meluseek, they're going to be sending something to the grave anyway and then getting the Link Kurobo, so there's no point leaving it on the field. He made the right choice there. He tries to attack over me, but I luckily have the Konkiri. Negate him, go to my turn, spoofing. Yep, very nice. Now we got the multi-faker set up, and it just kind of snowballs from here. You can see the way that this deck can really snowball after a certain amount of time. Good to have the Marionetta back to hand. Bounce that, see you later. Summon the Marionetta to get my Haunted Rock. Now this is a pretty fun combo with the Haunted Rock here. Switching out, I probably put him in the wrong zones, but that's no big deal. Want to get the Hexia, but it does cop the Judgment. Shattered there. Alright, moving on. It's not so bad because we have the manifestation, so we can just loop all of our resources, especially having Silquiritas in the grave as well. Alright, so it's looking good for us. It's not looking spectacular for him. Manifestation into that so we can special summon again. Now we got a negate. Very cool. Yep, Meluseek comes back. We can then use the protocol to tribute off the Meluseek if necessary, which is good. Alright, Prime Monarch, yep, summons itself back. And we've got the shuffle there so we can get the Marionetta again, boosting up the Hexia, and then we can obviously set a trap. Now, there's our inclusion of Pot of Avarice. Now, the draws are almost exactly what I needed in this game. Now, this is why I think this is really good. Being a grind deck that Altergeist is, and same with the Numeron engine, you can get monsters in the grave quite easily, which really sets up for this Avarice. So let's continue here. Alright, so now I've got a couple of negates. I've got the manifestation, the crackdown. Yep, obviously I chained to that. Multi-faker comes out. Doesn't give me quite enough attack to get over the Erebus, which is a shame, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I figured to bounce the Prime Monarch trap so I couldn't float again. Send that to the grave. Yep, it's looking good. Alright, get in for 270s ago. Only got 200 left. Double Hextia into, what are we summoning here? Oh, nothing there. My apologies. It was a spoofing. And we have to negate that. That way we can choose what's going to leave the field. We get our multi-faker back and he just concedes. Obviously, we've got too much advantage by this point. Jumping into the next one against Crusader. This was a pretty fun match as well. You don't see a lot of Crusader around these days, which was why I enjoyed this one. Imperm on that. Oh, okay, so I'll let you know, I was playing Imperm in this build. It was a bit of an early build with Ash Blossom and Imperm instead of the Kaijus. I've changed it up since then, but thought the replay was quite good, so I'll include it here. Alright, so it goes into his regular, into his Draco. It's pretty standard Crusader stuff thus far. Into his Equimax, Magius, and yep, that hurts. This is the reason that we play the Ningirsu, I'll tell you right now. So now we have to try and out this thing. We can only set up negates at this point. We have no out for it just yet. Multi-faker into that. Obviously we can't bounce it, but anything else he brings out we can attempt to get rid of, which we do here with his back row, because I'm a bit concerned about that. He just chains it. Gets the Draco, gets that back to hand. Yep, special. It's not looking good for us. Yikes. I figure I have to judgment the Dugaris here just so he doesn't gain any more advantage, and obviously I get the multi-faker summon now. Spoofing, yep, that's all I can do. I'm surprised. I tried to chain the Conqueror here, but it wouldn't work. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe because it's got a damage step move. But moving on here into the Hexia manifestation, and here we have the Ningirsu. So this no longer becomes a problem. We can just shuffle it away, which is nice. Okay, we lose our board, but we also are getting rid of the biggest threat, and this is where the Numeron engine comes in. 1,000 life points left, Numeron calling, and that's pretty much game. Don't you love it? Well, some people don't. Some people get pretty angry at me for playing the Numeron core in this, but I'm not too worried. I like winning. Great. All right, moving on to the next one. We've got Altergeist versus Cubic. This was a great match as well. He included the Machina monsters in here, which work really well with the trap, as you're going to see right there. There's the Machina Overdrive. Just works really well with this deck, which is nice. Now, admittedly, I don't 100%. I don't play a lot of Cubic, so I don't really know what they do. So some of my decision making in this match is not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Man, they float really hard, these things. So he summons 2 from deck. That's quite nice. They send 2 from deck to grave. They get their effect as well. Shuffle that back in because I want to save it. Then we've got, I'll let him attack for that because I do want the search. Goes into Baguska here, which is interesting. So he searches the, I think it was the Crimson Nova, and then another one so he can summon it. But obviously he can't use its move and it's in 0 defense. I think he figures I'm going to be stuffed here, but here comes the Kaiju. Alright, Marionetta into Haunted Rock. I wanted to do the combo here. Unfortunately, I did neglect to remember that I've already summoned. Therefore, due to Multi-Faker's second condition on the special summon from deck, I couldn't get the extra monster. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world, you know. Got rid of the Crimson Nova. Moving on, he's going to have a bit of a good turn here. Sends that to grave. Yes, that's cool. I get 2 counters, and they're both negated. Goes into battle phase here. That dies. I got the Conqueror. Now this is cool. Tributes that for the Citadel. Summon the Conqueror. When I try to activate that, he's obviously going to quick effect, but I do have the spoofing to chain, which is nice. But Chainlink 5, Ash Blossom. No good. Alright, out comes the V-Jam. It's going to go into Phoenix to clear my remaining background. It's not looking good for me from here. I mean, he hasn't got the best setup. He's kind of clutching at straws, but we do what we can. We go into Maliseek. I do forget about Secure Gardener here, unfortunately, so I can't do damage, which means I can't send 1 from field to grave. I can still get the search, though, which is fine. Buys me a turn at least. Now, this was interesting. I couldn't believe it when I saw this. The Golden Lord in this, and it actually makes sense because you send your Cubic cards to grave, and then you obviously float from there. Plus you get this big body on field and you get to remove. It works fantastically. He didn't, unfortunately for him, have, you know, enough damage for game. But fortunately for me, look at what I draw. 1 for 1. That's all I need. Kaiju the big monster, 1 for 1. go for that guy, get the network, and you know, you can pretty much predict where it's going to go from here, almost. Attack into that, get my effects, yep, double, great, yep, double. Now, unfortunately, I foolishly attack into VJam here. If I had have attacked into my Kaiju first and then into VJam, I would have had game at this point. But Zexal lock is pretty much game regardless. Go to the Zexal, I get Kaiju here. So he's bought himself one more turn, but that is luckily just the number I need to get through his last Linkuribo and then to attack for game. Beautiful. Another win under the belt. Jumping on into the next one. That was just an OTK. That one's not that interesting. The game versus Heroes isn't too bad. Let's have a look at that one. Alright, so setting up against Heroes here. I'm going first, which is very good. Probably have pretty ideal situation. I can send that, then special summon it again. Then go off into Hexia, that way I can float the Horned Rock. And I had the manifestation in hand, so I wasn't too concerned about sending the Silquitus to grave. Alright, emergency call. Probably don't want to hit that, and lucky I didn't because he's got the Twin Twisters there. The Silquitus will float, which is nice. Get me the manifestation back, which is good. Faris gets striked, and you know, that's pretty much the end of the turn for him. Alright. Protocol, just so I can activate the multi-faker into that, just so I can get the extra attack, and obviously I've got the negate as well. Pushing in for another bit of damage there with a couple of back row. I mean, this deck just absolutely steamrolls, which is nice. I negate the Stratos here, you know, floating the multi-faker, and that's pretty much game. He concedes at that point. I think it was mute and finish. So there it is, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of my deck and what you thought of the replays. Let me know how you'd play differently if you would. If you like the video, you know, always consider subscribing, because I'm going to be doing a few videos coming in the future, which is going to be good fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck. The next deck I'm going to be showing off is actually Dinosaurs, one of my personal favorite decks. The first deck I started playing since I came back to the game in 2017. 3 structure decks was all you needed back then to have a good match at locals, so I'll be showing off that, and I've been inspired by Sam's recent win at the Remote Duel Invitational, so I'm going to be doing a deck inspired on that with a couple of variations, you know, my own tune on it, which is going to be good, so stay tuned. Cheers, guys.